This is one of my most utilized baby items, but it's also kind of one of my bigger regret items. Hey friends, Kinsey here at the Flocking Farm. Today, let's talk about those baby must-have items. I have my top 20 here for you. Let's get into it.
Hey, I'm Kinsey. I'm a crazy homesteader with a lot of ambitions. I like to talk a lot, and I'm a little goofy, but I'm passionate about intentional living, and I love my family. This is our story at the Flocking Farm.
We are officially expecting baby number 2 to join us next May, but now that we are through the first year of life, are you almost a year old already? I have a fairly decent idea of the things that we really enjoy that were very helpful and what those baby must-have items were. I was somebody who watched a ton of these videos before I had her, and there are some things in here that might be surprising to you. There were a couple of items that were on a lot of people's regret lists that actually for me were some of our clutch items. So stay tuned for those. I will be pointing them out as we talk about them. But there were definitely some different ones in here than what you might be familiar with listening to some of these other videos. Caveat to our paradigm with baby items, I am a minimal-ish. I like to be very intentional with the baby items that we have in. I'm not about maintaining excess things with baby stuff or in life in general. I really tried to think about what items did we actually use so I could pare down this list for you today. And that is what this 20 item overview is going to be about. In addition to that, we do lean a little bit natural granola in some of our baby items. But even for some more of those niche type items, I will talk about how some of them can be practical for everybody. Let's get into item number 1. Item number 1 is a fairly self-explanatory one as far as baby must-have items, the Stroller Carseat combo. This is one of my most utilized baby items, but it's also kind of one of my bigger regret items. Let me explain why. We went with the City Select travel system, which for all intents and purposes, I love. The things that I was really looking for in a car seat was something that could go right onto a travel system, something that they could graduate out of that car seat and then sit in the stroller. This is why I didn't opt for something like I think it's Duna? It's the Duna. It looked really cool, but I wanted something that stroller would stay with my kiddos a little bit longer. One of the big reasons why I chose the City Select stroller was because it can convert to a double stroller, and in addition to that you can also have like a little toddler foot rest on the front, so you can be pushing 3 kids at one time. This was really paramount to me because we anticipated wanting more kids in a relatively close bracket, and so I wanted a stroller that would grow with us. That is absolutely a huge pro with this stroller. Looking back, however, I really wish I had gone with the UpSaat Vista. Here's why. The original reason why I chose the City Select stroller over the UpSaat Vista was really down to the tires. I live in a very rural area and I wanted a stroller that was able to keep up in our rural environment. The City Select stroller wheels were just a little bit beefier than the UpSaat, which is why I ended up going with that stroller, even though I thought that the UpSaat Vista was aesthetically more pleasing. Looking back, I wish I had gone with the UpSaat because I have since then learned they're less toxic than the City Select strollers. Lots of car seats and stroller systems are covered in all sorts of nonsense. Flame retardants, lead, BPAs. I'm not sure entirely what the City Select unit uses, but what I can tell you is all of the different vlogs that I've looked at consistently has UpSaat listed as one of their non-toxic options, and the City Select stroller never comes up. If anyone can find the actual details on the City Select, because I've Googled City Select toxicity and I haven't really come up with a lot of stuff, but what I can tell you is I know that UpSaat is known for being more comprehensive in the department of non-toxicity. That being said, everything else about my City Select stroller I love. I just wish that I had known a little bit more about toxicity in car seats before getting the whole City Select system. I have also heard that Mockingbird is another one of those where it has quite a bit lower of a price tag than the UPSeat. I have found it on a couple of blogs that talked about non-toxic options for car seats and strollers. That might be a really budget-friendly option. The only reason I didn't seriously look into the Mockingbird was because of the area I lived in. The wheels didn't look like they would be able to keep up in my area. But if I were to do it all over again, I would look more seriously into the UPSeat and Mockingbird systems and pass on the City Select. But because that's what I have, I'm going to continue using it. Item number 2 is definitely one that was on a lot of the must-have lists, and I will say it is worth the hype. The Baby Bjorn Bouncer. Okay, you guys, I know the price tag is a little ridiculous. Somebody bought this for us as a gift off of our baby registry, my aunt and uncle. So incredibly thankful for that, because I don't know if I could have splurged on that whole price tag. She loved this thing. We used it so much that I bought an additional cover for it off of Etsy, which is so stinking adorable. We decided that we were going to get one baby gear item to hold our kitten. Because we lean heavily into Montessori, I'm very big into freedom of movement. I didn't want a lot of gear items that would hold her, but we wanted to have one. This thing could lull her to sleep like nothing else. Hey yo, Future Editing Kinsey here. One other thing that I forgot to mention, the reason why we decided to go with a bouncer instead of something like a rocker or a swing was because I wanted something that could function on all surfaces, and with something like a rocker, it needs to be a flat surface, whereas the bouncer, I mean, you could put it on sand and still bounce her. It's a lot more multifaceted and works in a lot more environments. Again, as always, make sure to read your manual and do your own research. Descriptive, not prescriptive, but that's one of the big reasons we decided to go with the bouncer as opposed to something like a rocker. I also loved that it folded flat, which made it super easy for storage. If we used it every single day. When she became a lot more mobile and could roll over and crawl, and she got a lot stronger, she would start to try to roll over inside of the Baby Bjorn. So at that point in time, we didn't put her to sleep in it anymore, but we did. We used it religiously for the first 6 months of life, and she loved that thing. If this is something that is not in your budget, I have done a lot of research on dupes, and from everything that I had looked at, if someone didn't buy us the Baby Bjorn bouncer, this one was the one that we were gonna buy in lieu of that. Might be something worth looking into. I don't have personal experience with it, but from all the research that I've done, that's the closest thing that comes to a dupe for the Baby Bjorn. Item number 3. Baby wraps. I have 3 different types of baby wraps. I used these a lot, and each one of them I used for different reasons. So the big fabric wraps, like the Solly baby wraps, this is like a Solly baby dupe. It was only like 20-25 bucks, something like that. I used this a lot for around the house because I loved that I could custom tie it. It looks very intimidating, I'm not gonna lie. It looks intimidating to try to put on. Once you get the hang of it though, I watched like 2 videos and easy peasy. This one also came with a ring sling option. I think I used it once. I wasn't really a fan of the ring sling, but I did use this to wear her on the front a lot when she was newborn. One thing I will say that I didn't love about this, and this is why I only used it at the house, because it's so long, it kind of drags on the floor when you're trying to tie it. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna put my baby in it, and you're gonna try tying this in the parking lot and it's gonna get all dirty and nasty and gross. Ask me how I know. So for that reason, I only wore this one at home, but I did get a lot of miles out of it. I also really only wore it when she was fairly small. The second wrap is the Baby Catan wrap. This one I have a love-hate relationship with. I don't love that you can't really adjust the size. You do need to buy the correct size, but then as she gets a little bigger, or if I want it a little bit more snug, it's not nearly as customizable as something like long cloth wraps. What I did love about this though is it is so quick to put on. So this is the one that would live in my car anytime I wanted to baby wear her into the store. Lived in my diaper bag because I would only wear this if I was out and about, since it was so easy to throw on. But when I was at home, I would take the time to tie it because I liked the customizable size that the other longer wrap has to offer. And then finally, this baby carrier. I didn't really start to use a structured baby carrier until she was able to hold her head up. Honestly, that type of carrier was more intimidating to me than the cloth carrier because there are so many buckles. You're like, what on earth do I do? Now I've got it down to a science. This is the only baby carrier that I use now, but I didn't use it when I was wearing her on the front because I prefer to baby wear on my back. Now this is the only carrier that I use. For the first 4 to 6 months, I solely used the 2 cloth wraps that we just went over. Past that, this is the only wrap that I've used because, like I said, I prefer to carry on the back. I feel like when I have a baby on the front, it's oftentimes hard for me to do things, and I feel like I'm gonna bump her, and like I can't bend over as well. So when she was big enough to where it was safe to put her on the back, on my back she went. Side note, you're supposed to have somebody else put them on your back. Per says the instructions. So this is descriptive, not prescriptive, okay? You do what is safest for your family. This is what worked for me. I figured out how to strap her on my back by myself so quickly and easily. That's why I would wear her on my back all the time, is once I got past that hurdle of needing someone else to help me put her on my back and I figured out how to do it myself, I wore her on my back all the stinking time. But again, that I didn't really do until she was big enough to hold her head up and be put on my back. If I'm wearing her on the front, I would have used one of the other wraps. And that's a wrap on this section. Item number 4 is another one that I saw on a lot of people's baby item regrets list that I actually used all the stinking time. That is adorable clothing. Almost every video that I watched without exception said, don't get the cute clothes, they're not very practical, your baby's gonna live in onesies all the time, don't go and buy cute clothes. Now I will say it's probably a good idea to wait until your baby is here so that you know whether or not you have the proclivity to dress them up and the bandwidth to do that or not. But for me, I dressed her up all the time. All the time. I went out and bought dresses, I would put pants on her, I dressed her up to the nines pretty much all the time. And if I was just using some kind of onesie, I would pair it with an adorable hat. Okay, you guys, you don't necessarily need it, but I swear I used these hats all the time. It would take any outfit, even if it was just a onesie, and dress it up so fast, so stinking cute, these little turbans. I even had like 40 different colored bows, and she almost never wore them because she was in these hats literally almost 24/7. If you have a baby girl and you want her to be really cute, but you're not sure about buying all sorts of cute clothes and if that's gonna fit in with your lifestyle, you can dress up almost any outfit with a super cute turban. Like I said, not necessary, but on my must-have list because I dressed her up all the time and it just brought me so much joy, and those hats are so stinking cute. Item number 5, oversized clothes. Here's the thing. I don't know why more people don't do this. Maybe it has something to do with why a lot of baby clothes are covered in flame retardant as well. Like, they're supposed to be snug fitting. So again, descriptive, not prescriptive. Do your own research. This is just what worked for me. I love dressing her in oversized clothes. Oversized sweatshirts, oversized dresses. I have lots of like footless onesies that are 18-month size that she started wearing at like 9 or 10 months. Can stay in them for so much longer. This doesn't really work for things like just straight onesies, but dresses. I got a bunch of my baby dresses from my mom from when I was little, and most of them were in a 1 to 2 year size. She's already wearing them. She's been wearing them for months because, I mean, if you were to look at them, they're supposed to be knee length, and so they just go to her ankles. I get so much more life out of them, and I love dressing her in oversized clothing, especially like sweatshirts. An oversized sweatshirt, guys, is so stinking cute. It's a look, right? So, outside of the box, again, descriptive, not prescriptive. Do your own research, do what works for you, but for me, I love dressing her in oversized clothes. Item number 6, cloth diapers. Now this is going to be one of those more niche products where if you're not playing a cloth diaper, this may or may not apply to you. I have some pros and cons in this department. This is one of those things that I heard on a lot of people's regrets lists that actually came in clutch for me, and that was newborn size cloth diapers. So there were a lot of people that said they just used disposables in the first month or so of life because it wasn't worth the money to just get a bunch of cloth diapers. One of the big reasons why we ended up doing cloth diapers is because we also do elimination communication. Elimination communication is like potty understanding from birth. I actually have a picture of her meconium in the potty. But the nice thing about cloth diapers is it doesn't wick away the moisture as much as regular diapers do, so it helps babies understand that they don't like to be wet, because it's not natural for us to want to sit in our own waste. So when they can feel the wetness, they tend to cue better, and then you're able to potty them a lot easier. My bigger regrets is actually on bulk buying my diapers before she was here. I bulk bought all of my cloth diapers, which I love, from Grovia. Here's what they look like. And I really like this style of cloth diaper because it's very much like my newborn cloth diaper. I have the shell and then I have a liner. So I don't have to replace the whole diaper every time, and I don't have to stuff it like you would a pocket diaper. You can just clip in your insert, and then when she pees and it gets wet, then you can just put this in the wash and clip in a new insert. So you don't need quite as many. And the reason I went with Grovia is because they're all organic. I love everything about it except I way prefer a Velcro closure to a button closure. And I didn't know that initially. I will do a whole video on cloth diapers at another point in time. Grovia does carry ones that are Velcro. I, at the beginning though, didn't know that I was gonna like that more and ended up buying ones that were all snaps. I've gotten used to it, they work fine. I actually even know a gal that prefers the snaps over the Velcro because she feels like the Velcro sound wakes her baby up more. I prefer the ease of the Velcro. It's more like a regular diaper. Just if I were to do it all again, I would go with the exact same diaper, the Grovia Hybrid. You can have the inserts that you button in, except this closer feature would be Velcro instead of buttons. Other than that though, definitely a clutch on my list. I love my cloth diapers, user friendly. These ones in particular are very easy to change. You don't have to have all sorts of shells. You can just have a bunch of different liners. And then in addition to that, this leads into my next must-have item, which is what I used as my liner for these guys. Because this brand of diaper is just a shell and it doesn't have anything that I buttoned into it. Item number 7, and that is flour sack towels. Guys, this might just be the holy grail of baby items. I kid you not. Now, stick with me here because even though I'm going to talk about this in relation to cloth diapering, they have a lot more uses than just that, which we will be covering. So for these, I would fold these as inserts for her diaper. They're super absorbent. They're very thin. So I would just fold them like this and put them in the diaper shell. And this would soak up all of her newborn pees. It was more than big enough. In addition, if you needed like a booster in a regular size diaper, you could easily use a flour sack towel. These also work really well as she gets bigger. If you're into doing elimination communication, folded this just into like an old school diaper. where it would catch more, but it would hold that wetness, and then I could tell very quickly when she was wet. So you could fold this into a diaper, you could use it as a diaper liner, but more than that, this makes a way better burp cloth than regular burp cloths. You can use it as a changing pad. You can use it as an impromptu nursing cover if you're concerned about modesty. There are literally 101 different uses for this item, and they are so inexpensive compared to burp cloths, to changing pads, to diaper boosters. This is an all-in-one product every mama needs. Whether you do cloth diapering or not, you should definitely get yourself some flour sack towels. Now, item number 8 is another one of those more niche products, but if you're open to hearing about it, I would love to share with you my infant potties. These got used all of the time. Now, I have 2 different models here. This is something called a top hat potty. I used this a lot when she was first born and very small. So the idea with this one is it goes between your legs, and then you can potty your baby right here. The more independent type potty that we use for majority of the time now is this baby potty. The thing I like about this, whether or not you do EC or not, is the footprint is a lot smaller than all of the other potties on the market. There's like a baby Bjorn potty, there's a couple of different ones, and this one by far is a lot smaller. This is not only what we do for EC, but when we go into full potty training mode, when we transition her completely out of diapers, this is what we're going to be using. It's kid size. You can see I have one in the chair over here. I have one in the living room. I keep one in the bedroom. This is the one that's usually in the bedroom. But whether or not you do EC or not, I really, really like this baby potty in particular because the footprint is a lot smaller and it's very, very practical. In the same vein is item number 9, which is a bidet for your toilet. Now, everyone that cloth diapers knows this is an absolute must-have if you want to pre-rinse some of those dirty diapers before you put them in a wet bag or put them into the laundry. However, even if you're not cloth diapering, I was surprised at how often I use this bidet. We'll absolutely have a bidet in every single bathroom that we have. They just come in so handy. I was not expecting how handy this thing would be. So especially for like the baby potties, they're really nice. You can just hold the baby potty. If there's a poop in there over the toilet, spray it out. It's got really good pressure. But also just in things like cleaning the bathroom, if I want to spray out the toilet, if I want to, that's where I keep my dog's food and water, I'll fill their water with it. Like it's so multifunctional in a way that I was not anticipating. So even if you don't cloth diaper or EC, I would still recommend getting a bidet sprayer. You may find some really good uses for it. But in particular, they are very useful when it comes to both cloth diapering and elimination communication. Item number 10, cloth wipes. Hear me out. This isn't just for people that do cloth diapering. I think everyone would benefit from having cloth wipes. Even if you like just the regular wipes, these things are so handy. One of the things I really like about them is because they're not pre-moistened, they're very easy to go and wipe up quick spills, quick spit ups, boogers on the face. You've got a leak, you throw one in there. Like, they're so functional. In my opinion, they're far more functional than the wet wipes. I had a whole box of wet wipes gifted to me when she was first born, and I don't think I'm even halfway through it. I only really use a wet wipe if she's gone number 2, and even then, I have a little cleaning solution that is just water with a little bit of Castile soap, and I spray that and wipe her down. Even if you're not into the whole cloth system with cloth diapering and cloth wipes, you may still consider getting some cloth wipes because they are very, very functional. Because they're not already wet, they're absorbent. They're so much more absorbent than regular wipes. I actually tried a couple of different types of cloth wipes. I got the Grovia ones that were double-sided, and then I just got these regular ones from Amazon. I actually prefer the thinner regular ones from Amazon because the double-ply ones I felt like got stuck when I would try to wipe stuff, and it was just too much. The simple cloth wipes from Amazon, 10 out of 10, can recommend. You will use them for so much more than you would even think. Item number 11 is another one that I saw on a whole bunch of people's product regrets list, and I was surprised at how much mileage that we got out of this item. My baby bassinet. This one is by Design Dua. I got this on Facebook Marketplace. There's a lot that are in really good condition on Facebook Marketplace. I got this for a fraction of the price, and I also got it with a stand. There's something really surprising about this one that I did not plan on that she loved so much. This pattern. So originally when I was shopping for them from the company website, I was looking at just the plain ones. This one popped up on Marketplace, so I thought, well, for a fraction of the price, I can go with the design. It's still gonna be cute. She loved the high contrast colors, because when they're first born, they don't see the whole color spectrum. They really only see high contrast. She didn't really sleep in this overnight. This is gonna be controversial, but we do co-sleeping. There is an excellent book that I would highly recommend if you have questions on co-sleeping, which is Safe Infant Sleep. This is by Dr. James J. McKenna. I can tell you what, I didn't plan on co-sleeping, but because of co-sleeping, I had almost zero maternal fatigue. I'll probably do a video on that in the future as well. Again, if you're looking for resources on safe co-sleeping, highly recommend this book. Even though we didn't use this for bedtime, she loved to just lay in this and look at the high contrast on the sides. She would oftentimes take naps in this, and then I would take like high contrast cards and put them along the inside right here for her to look at. I loved, one, how beautiful this was, because I figured even if we don't get a lot of use out of this as an actual bassinet, it's so pretty, I would display it as a basket in my home. So this is the Moses basket. I believe it's in the color Midnight.
Future editing Kinsey again. It is actually in the color Midnight Cross. I have since then gone to the company's website and I can't find it in the bassinet form anymore. They make dog beds in that pattern, so you may want to keep an eye out on Marketplace or on eBay if you're looking for the exact pattern. They do have ones in the shade Midnight, but I wasn't able to find a Midnight Cross.
When she graduated out of this bassinet, we still got a lot of mileage out of it because I used it as like a toy bin, so she would climb in and out of there and play with her toys. Definitely one of my most used items, which really surprised me because I was anticipating this not getting a lot of mileage, and I got a lot out of it. Especially when she was really little, she was in this thing all the time. I also had one of those baby loungers that was like a Docatot dupe. It was small enough that it fit inside of that bassinet to give her a little bit more padding, so I did use that in the bassinet from time to time, as well as, occasionally out and about. I just didn't get enough use out of it to put it on my must-have list, but it's an honorable mention. I also loved putting muslin swaddles on top of it so I could change out the design of the baby lounger. The next item, item number 12 on my must-have list, are bibs, with a bit of a caveat. So this is going to be a little difficult because you can't just go out and buy this. These are adorable little bibs that my mom, I believe this is crochet, she knits and crochets. She wore these in the early months all the time because, one, how adorable is that pattern? And two, when she would spit up, they were very absorbent, so they would soak it up. Now, I'm sure you could buy something similar even if it wasn't quite as cute. The main thing about this bib that I loved is, for me, I liked to be able to tie it, which could be a choking hazard, so again, descriptive, not prescriptive, use your best judgment. But what I liked is that it laid flat. I also had these muslin bibs. I loved the idea behind these, but what I didn't like was by the time that you put it on, they were all sorts of bunched up. They're absorbent, but they would kind of get in the way of her face. They would kind of like move up and into her face. They also, because they bunched up, they wouldn't absorb things as well. The stuff would kind of get stuck on it. So if you do look for a bib, since you can't just buy these in stores, I would try looking for a bib that is flat and flush with the neckline, as opposed to something like this that's gonna bunch up a bit. Item number 13 on my must-have list is a car seat mirror. Postpartum, I struggled with a little bit of postpartum anxiety. This was the worst when I was in the car because we live between 45 and 60 minutes from pretty much anywhere, which means for 45 minutes I can't see if she's, I don't know, suffocating on something. I'm not saying that postpartum anxiety is always logical. I'm just saying it exists. Something that really helped me with my postpartum anxiety was having the car seat mirror so that I could just look in my rearview mirror and see her and know that she was still breathing and okay. Number 14 on my list is Lanolin. There are all sorts of different products that you can get. You can get diaper rash cream, you can get moisturizer, you can get nipple balm. Lanolin covers all of those bases. Lanolin is really excellent as an overall baby product. Pretty much replaced all of the balms and creams I had into one. Stock some Lanolin on hand, you won't regret it. Number 15 is a infant seat called the Upseat. Now this is very similar in idea to the Bumbo, except it's quite a bit different. You can use this on the floor for playtime, but you can also use this as a high chair, which is primarily what we use it for. The reason I chose the Upseat over the Bumbo is because of the way that the Bumbo is designed. It actually is not good for baby's development. Upseat, because it allows for freedom of movement in the hips so it doesn't restrict it and roll them in. Much better for baby's development. Again, this is what we use for the high chair, so I just have a higher chair that it's strapped to. She can use it at the table, but you can also use it just as a regular seat to help a baby learn to sit up on the floor. It's a little bit higher ticket item, but they do have discounts on somebody sends their seat back. They do a quality inspection and then you can get it for a little bit less. Something to look out for, but I definitely enjoyed the Upseat. Item number 16 is a rectal thermometer. I know it's not very cute, but it is by far the most accurate way to take a temperature. When you're reaching that point where you're worried that your infant might be sick, to me it was very helpful to have something that I knew was going to be very accurate. I would use just straight jojoba oil as my lubricant and then use the rectal thermometer if I felt like she was starting to spike a fever. I got the one from Frida Baby, which worked really well for me because it's designed to basically stop at the correct point, but you could get just a regular thermometer and label it for being a rectal thermometer. Number 17 in the same vein of health and wellness would be the nose Frida. You've probably seen this on everybody's list. I didn't use the nose Frida very often because she didn't tend to have slimy boogers, but when you need it, and it's just one of those that it's easier to use than one of those like suction cup cesspools for bacteria. So the nose Frida, when you need it. I didn't use it very much, but it was nice to have on hand. What I did use much more frequently, which moves us into item number 18, was the Oogie Boogie Bear. Because if she had boogers, they tended to be more dry boogers that I just kind of wanted to get out of her nose. And the Oogie Boogie Bear was super simple to use and it made it very easy for me to just get in there and pop it right out. Number 19 is another one of those. You don't need it very often, or at least you hope you don't, but it's really helpful to have on hand, which is the Windi. When she was first newborn and she would get gas stuck in her tummy, I would use the Windi and it actually did really help relieve some of those gas pains. When she was so fussy and I couldn't figure out why, she'd been fed, she'd been pottied, recently slept, or I couldn't get her to go to sleep, but all the other check marks were done, I would try to use the Windi on her, and sure enough, she'd have some stuck gas that once it was relieved, she was way happier. One of those items that as they mature too and they don't tend to have as much gas stuck, I don't use it anymore. I can't remember the last time I used it, but in those early days, their digestive system is still developing. It's super handy to have on hand. And lastly is the Huckleberry App. This app is really helpful for all sorts of different things, whether you're timing your breastfeeding, which I did in the very beginning, or you're trying to see what your nap and sleep time routine looks like. They have an upgrade where you can do a lot more sleep tracking. It's helpful to see like, oh, when they had more sleep during the day, they didn't sleep as long at night. Especially if you don't co-sleep, I could see this being very helpful. This for me is super helpful because they've developed a feature where you can track all of their pees and poops, and you can also track if you used the potty. So when you're doing elimination communication, I can track, did I offer the potty? Did she actually go potty? If she did she go 1 or 2, and how much? I can add notes to everything. I can also put on there if I offered the potty but she didn't go. So super helpful for all of those different types of tracking. You can track their weight too. There's a lot of different aspects of that I love. Highly recommend the Huckleberry app. It has so many good uses to it. Also, if you're interested in looking into elimination communication, I would recommend the book Go Diaper Free by Andrea Olson. Was my #1 reference that I would go to. She also has a podcast and a YouTube channel that are chock full of information, so I would definitely recommend checking out those. Alright folks, that's going to wrap up today's video. If there's anything in particular that were must-haves for you, or items on this list that you disagreed with, be sure to leave that in the comment section down below. I will be doing a video on baby product regrets coming soon, as well as some more information about cloth diapering, EC, and all of that good stuff. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell notification to be updated anytime I release a new video. And as always, until next time, don't be afraid to live out loud, and we will catch you on that flippity flop.